right, I think we'll go ahead and get started, and those that are able to join us here in a little bit, they're welcome to hop on. For those that may not know me, my name is Sandy Vera. I am the Chief Operating Officer at Live Well Kosciuszko, and I'd like to welcome everyone to today's meeting for Chronic Disease and Obesity Coalition. It's the first meeting of 2024, and we are super excited to have everyone join us today. And just to, again, thumbs up, can everyone hear me okay? Perfect, all right. Let's see here. Figure out this PowerPoint. So for those that don't know Live Well Kosciuszko, we're a nonprofit organization that promotes the health and well-being of all residents in Kosciuszko County. And our work is to transform our community into a thriving place for you and your family to live, learn, work, play, and visit. But before we delve deep into the agenda, I would like to take a moment for everyone to go around and introduce themselves briefly. So if you would please state your name, your role, and the organization that you're representing today. This will help us to all get acquainted and understand who's here today. So again, Sandy Vera with Live Well, Chief Operating Officer, and I will just start going down the line by the people that I see here. So we'll start with Angie Summers.
Angie Summers, K21 Health Foundation. I'm a social worker and I'm the office manager here.
Okay, great. Then Molly Tritch.
Hi, I'm Molly Tritch. I am with Parkview Health, and I am the VeggieRx coordinator for Kosciuszko County and Huntington.
Oh, nice. Austin.
Yep. Hello, Austin Rhodes. I'm with Live Well Kosciuszko as well, and I'm the Breathe Well, formerly known as the Tobacco Free Coalition coordinator here.
Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Campbell. I'm with Cardinal Services and I'm the HR director for Cardinal.
Hi, Jennifer Stewart with K21 Health Foundation. I'm the grants manager.
And Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica Camarena with Live Well, and I am the Vice President of Program.
And we have Tracy up next.
Yeah, Tracy Furnival, Executive Director of Baker Youth Club.
Awesome. And Shannon.
Shannon Shepard, the Health and Human Science Educator for Purdue Extension Kosciuszko.
Thank you. And Kurt.
Carlson, Health First Indiana in the Health Department.
All right. And we have Laura Heinrich. I think I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Heinrich. Laura Heinrich, I'm the Section Director at the Indiana State Department of Health for the Cardiovascular Health and Diabetes Program. Thank you.
Great. Welcome. And Katie.
Do you mean Katie Tipton, me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Wasn't sure if there's
right.
another one.
No.
Katie Tipton, Community Engagement Coordinator for Goshen Health.
All right. And we have Rich.
Hi, everybody. Rich Haddad, CEO of K21 Health Foundation here in Kosciuszko County.
Thank you. And Natalie.
Hi, I'm Natalie Moore. I am the Youth Coordinator at Live Well Kosciuszko.
And Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Boza. I'm the Division Director for Nutrition and Physical Activity at the Indiana Department of Health.
Thank you. And then Alia.
Hi, Alia Amin, and I lead the Cardiovascular and Diabetes Coalition of Indiana with Connections in Health.
Great. Let's see here. And there's someone I'm not for sure. It's S. Grewink.
Pretty good. It's Grewonk, Sarah Grewonk.
Oh,
I am with the Indiana Asthma Program within the Division of Chronic Disease, Primary Care, and Rural Health at the Department of Health.
Welcome. And then we have Alexandra.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I am an intern at the Indiana Department of Health.
Welcome. And Karen.
I think you're talking to me. Hi.
Yes.
Karen Henshaw. I actually bit into a green bean when you said my name, so I
Oh,
couldn't hear you.
I'm so sorry.
So I'm Karen Henshaw. I work with the Connections in Health team, which has 3 statewide health coalitions, one of which Alia leads. I'm focused on prevention and management of chronic disease.
Welcome. And Tara.
Sorry, it's Tiara. I was getting
Tiara.
confused. Yes, Dr. Tiara Riggs here. I serve as the Diabetes Prevention Coordinator with the Indiana Department of Health within our Diabetes and Cardiovascular section. So glad to be here.
Welcome. And Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna Rich. I am the district nurse for Tippecanoe Valley Schools.
Welcome. And Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Akers. I'm the nurse coordinator at Warsaw Community Schools.
Welcome. And then there's someone that says iPhone, so I'm not for sure who that is.
I believe that's me. My name is Karina Wilkinson. I represent Harvest Coffee and Market in Milford, and one of our 4 pillars is health and wellness.
Great, welcome. And then we have Joyce.
Sorry, my computer wasn't working. Hi, I'm Joyce Fellenworth. I'm the State Office Rural Health Manager within the State Department of Health.
Welcome. And then last but not least, Nurse Mary. Okay, we'll skip her. Then we have Lisa Harmon.
Hi, Lisa Harmon with Livewell Kosciuszko, and I actually have someone else here with me.
Sure, Mike Murphy from Bowen Center, Senior Director.
Great. And then Melissa. This is having trouble connecting to audio. So Melissa Bushing with Parkview. If she's able to get work, I'll let her share more about her role. And then we have Jan Martin.
I'm having a little trouble, but hello.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, did I forget anyone? Because I tried to go through and look to see who all has joined. Okay. All right. Well, so on this next slide is our agenda. So we'll briefly cover our purpose, the county and state statistics, asset mapping, the coalition structure, and next steps. However, before we get started and diving in deep into the agenda, I wanted to share a little bit about the background of the Chronic Disease and Obesity Coalition. So research has shown that obesity not only leads to costly chronic diseases, but it has been linked to several common cancers as well. LiveWell has a cancer coalition, and after much consideration of how we can best serve our community, we have decided to separate out the chronic disease and obesity portion from the cancer coalition. By having the separate coalitions, we feel that we can allocate our resources more effectively and tailor our efforts to tackle these pressing health issues with a greater focus. So the purpose of our Chronic Disease and Obesity Coalition is to, through a healthy community coalition, Kosciuszko County will have a comprehensive evidence-based program to address obesity and obesity-related illnesses such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, including hypertension and hyperlipidemia, hepatitis C, and cancer. And to help educate everyone about the importance of these issues that we're talking about today, we have Lindsay Boza. She is the director of the Division of Nutrition and Physical Activity. Lindsay, do you want me to open the slides for you, or do you want to me to give you the screen sharing?
If you want to give me the screen sharing, I can. I'm ready to share my screen.
Perfect.
So I just want to go ahead and introduce myself again. Lindsay Boza. I'm the director of the Division of Nutrition and Physical Activity. I'm kind of our point person for anything related to obesity and overweight. However, I did invite a few folks from our chronic disease primary care and rural health division. So you heard from Laura and Sarah. They have helped me put together this PowerPoint for today. Also, it is fairly similar to ones that we did with the Health First Indiana workshops that were done back in the fall. So if any of you attended the districts 1 and 4, I believe, is where Kosciuszko fell. Either that or 2 to 3. But we pulled out some of the information from that slide presentation and put that here today. And then we have a slide based on just Kosciuszko County. And then I will ask Sarah and Laura to add any additional data points that they would like related to asthma or cardiovascular, diabetes, hypertension. But I'll just kind of get started. And hopefully we won't take up your whole agenda, your whole hour today. So we'll move to the next. Oh. Okay. District 2, that's it. So the District 2 and 3 workshop that we did in the fall is where Kosciuszko sits. So as Sandy mentioned a little bit ago, obesity does contribute to a certain number of chronic diseases. And some believe obesity to be a chronic disease in and of itself. So Indiana, just some statistics for you to get the stage set a little bit, is that our latest ranking for obesity is that we're 9th most obese state in the United States, that we're tied with Kentucky and Wisconsin. We hover anywhere between like 7th and 15th, but we're typically in that bottom quarter of states. Midwestern states and kind of the southern states are in that same boat as we are. Our latest data is that over 2/3 of our Indiana adults are overweight or obese, 71%. This is the first time we've gone above 70%. So it was kind of a little bit of a shock to the system to see it go over 70. But the data there has been ticking up slightly over the last 20 years, I would say. But this is the highest we've ever been, 71%. So you can see there that we're 37% obese and 33% overweight. This data is gathered from the Behavioral Risk Factor Surveillance Survey, BRFSS. And how that data transpires is that adults are called randomly. Now it's just cell phones, but back in the day it was landlines and cell phones, and even before that, just landlines. So they're asked a variety of questions, and the answer, they are asked their height and weight. And so the BMI is calculated, body mass index. And then some of you probably know that if you're above a 25 BMI, you're overweight. If you're above a 30 BMI, you're considered obese, or that you have obesity. It's not a perfect measure. It's not a perfect individual measure, but it is the best way we have to measure population health. So you probably know some people that have a high muscle mass that probably fall into that overweight category, or maybe even obese category, but they aren't unhealthy at all, or don't have a lot of body fat necessarily. So like I said, it's not a perfect measure for individuals, but the best way to kind of calculate data over the course of a large population. And then 32% of Indiana youth are overweight or obese. So our 1/3 of youth turn into 2/3 of adults. That data is retrieved from the Youth Risk Behavior Survey. So that's a survey that's done in randomly selected high schools across the state. Usually freshmen and sophomores are the ones that take the survey. So that's our youth data that we have. Again, it's self-reported, so we do have to rely on that. It's based on whether people are honest or not on their height and weight, and even high school students. And we are working on getting better data, actually getting data from primary care providers, but there's a lot of kind of red tape and things that go along with that. So we are working on that to get more valid data across the state. And then overwhelmingly, obesity rates are higher in minority populations and rural areas. As Sandy mentioned earlier, a lot of chronic diseases and health conditions associated with a high body fat percentage. high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, stroke, osteoarthritis, asthma, sleep apnea, chronic inflammation, and then some cancers that are listed here. This is just a little bit more about the cancers that can be prevented if you look at nutrition and physical activity and ways to kind of decrease the likelihood of becoming overweight or obese. So again, listed are, this is just like a nice infographic of those cancers and how that affects the body. Just to reiterate, what we've been helping the state do over the course of the last year or so, meeting with different counties to discuss the core service and the KPI for the local health departments. But it from the purpose of this meeting, seems like you're definitely moving in the right direction for this core service and KPI, working on screening and referral for chronic diseases, and then having a healthy community coalition that has a comprehensive program to address obesity prevention and other obesity related diseases. This is where we showed a map of the counties that have current healthy community coalitions, and I use healthy community in parentheses because you know, they're all called something different, but it's the idea that you have a coalition working on chronic disease prevention or obesity. And these are the counties that we know of. This might not be 100% accurate because we rely on our partners to tell us if there are coalitions in different counties working on this. But we do have that Kosciuszko, through knowing about Live Well Kosciuszko, we had it listed that Kosciuszko does have a healthy community coalition. I'm really excited though to see that you're intentionally building out chronic disease and obesity into its own separate group. So I think that's a great way to take the next step on having a coalition. This is just some other partners to talk to. This is more for counties that are looking at starting a new coalition. It seems like you already had a well-established coalition and now you're pulling out chronic disease and obesity, which is awesome, but you already have a lot of these partners involved. I heard a lot of introductions of who's involved already from this list, but this is just another a refresher of maybe some other partners to bring on to your coalition or bring to the table. Something that we really work on in the Division of Nutrition and Physical Activity is what we call policy systems and environmental change, PSE. So we look at those kinds of interventions that can be done more at a broad level, where we're not as, we don't spend a lot of our time necessarily talking about individual behavior change or one-on-one consultations with dietitians, for example. While those can be important, our role at the health department is really looking at the broad systems level changes that can be made, or environmental changes, or little p policy changes. So with schools, looking at safe routes to school, farm to school, what's in the vending machine, and thinking about policies related to that. Having a garden, so that's something that can enhance the environment, that is something that will be more likely to last the test of time if it's prioritized. With government, it's things like bicycle and pedestrian master plans, looking at mass transit, if that makes sense for a community, urban agriculture, sugar sweetened beverage tax, things like that that can be done that can really make some impact for a population. And then if I heard we have a local health department on the phone as well. On the SharePoint site for Health First Indiana, we have additional guidance on the different topics there at the bottom, the pantries, restaurants, retail, media, public spaces. So that handout is on the SharePoint site for Health First Indiana. I can also get you a copy if anybody else wants a copy of that, the full resource. I can email that to Sandy after this call. And then we just included a couple examples of what some things other counties are doing. Vanderburgh County Health Department's Produce RX program. I love to hear that we have somebody here from Parkview for Veggie RX. We work with you all as well, doing some grant programming, but Vanderburgh County we highlight as having a Produce RX program through their health department's pre-diabetes prevention program. Any qualifying participant that enrolls in that program receives $40 a month for free produce through a organization that they have in Vanderburgh. There's also a senior restaurant meal voucher program at Fayette County. So this program provides free monthly meal vouchers for those 60 and over to go to a local restaurant from a certified modified menu, which has been designed by a registered dietitian, looking at serving items that are lower in salt, fat, and portion sizes for giving a healthy option for seniors. And then a physical activity example is joining Jennings for Healthy Living in Jennings County. They had a community run group that they wanted to host a summer walking series for their community members and families. And it really encouraged individuals to get out into the community, learn more about what parks and trails and sidewalks are in the community, and have different walks. And they had over 72 people gathered for one of the walks, and 22 people completing at least 8 of the walks in their walking series. So just an example of something you can do to get people more interested and engaged in being active. Also, to talk a little bit about another chronic disease program, and Laura Heinrich is on the line. She could answer any additional questions related to the diabetes prevention programs, but it's a nationally known program developed by the CDC, offered to help people make lifestyle changes. It was designed and actually piloted in Indiana by the Indiana University School of Medicine and has proven to delay type 2 diabetes or prevent. And it's a year-long program with a lifestyle coach in a group setting where folks set personal goals, learn to eat healthfully, add daily physical activity, and stay motivated. And each class meets for about an hour. There's also diabetes prevention program virtual options, which can be really helpful, especially these days with a lot of people doing things more virtually. And it really can reach a lot more people that way than having a centralized location where people have to travel to. This way, you can have a virtual option where literally anybody could join from anywhere across the state. The goals of the program include losing 5 to 7% of body weight if you are overweight, through basic nutrition education, and achieving 150 minutes of physical activity per week. So I have a link there for our diabetes programs website. But you can ask Laura any questions, or if you want to get further information, contact her for diabetes prevention. I've also included some links for cardiovascular and diabetes data sources, since I'm not as familiar with those data, since that's in a different division, but wanted to include those links. And then we included some data specific to Kosciuszko County. We did this at the Health First Indiana workshops where we looked at all the different counties. So this is for Kosciuszko. So adult obesity at 35%. The rank in the state is 26. So you are at the more desirable end of percentage for obesity, one of the in the lower quarter of the state. Diagnosed diabetes is at 9.9%. Heart disease mortality rate at 454.5%. And again, Laura would be able to explain what those numbers mean when I could give her the floor here in a minute. We did have that Kosciuszko has a Healthy Community Coalition, and there's the site there. And then we also liked to include other coalitions so that you could partner if you need to or want to. The Child Care and Early Learning, Chamber Healthcare Committee, and Northeast Indiana Local Food Network. Again, these are coalitions that we know about through our other partners. And then we also have asthma burden listed here. So the estimated current asthma prevalence in adults at 10.4%, in children at 7.1%, hospitalization rate per 10,000 residents at 2.45, which is 29th out of the 92 counties. And then emergency department visits per 10,000 residents at about 20, which is about halfway in between, or at least the ranking is about in the middle, essentially. So 55 out of 92. And then also have another slide here on asthma and obesity. So what I think I'd like to do right now, though, before I go to this slide, I'll let Sarah talk about this one. But if Laura, if you want to come off mute and share any additional diabetes or heart disease data that you would like to, that would be great.
There we go. Sorry. I really don't have any other information to share at this time, but if you want to delve deeper into some of the diabetes or mortality, we could do that. We do have additional data that we can provide you. The diagnosed diabetes data is from 2020, but we can also look at a range of data and years for you so that you can see the trend within the Kosciuszko. And it's the same thing with mortality rate for heart disease and diabetes.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
And Sarah, do you want to go ahead and jump on and talk about this slide?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Lindsay. So really here, this just kind of further discusses, that there's that association. Asthma, while we may not directly think there is the, association with obesity, and it's kind of cyclical as well. Obesity can be a contributing factor for asthma, and then with asthma, a lot of time physical activity is limited. Oh, Lindsay, we see your screen here.
Thank you. There you go.
Thanks. Then it can also exacerbate, while obesity exacerbates asthma, asthma can exacerbate obesity. I really like this diagram here on the right that shows there are so many factors that go into chronic disease and obesity. With our asthma programming, particularly, we do look at environment, primarily the immediate environment of the individual. So we're looking mostly at indoor environment and at the home. We do have programming available through our office where we can provide technical support and capacity building assistance with in-home asthma trigger assessments, situations for individuals in the school setting, and the reverse of that, the school setting in general. So we can provide support to schools as well as in the workplace setting. A big component of what we do that helps reduce both asthma and obesity is the self-management education, much like those DPP programs. And then we always encourage and bring in as part of our comprehensive programming, addressing the social drivers of health and linking people with those resources, because they all fall perfectly kind of in that cycle that drives our health outcomes. So happy to provide more information if people are interested in looking further at asthma. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So that is what we have for you today. I forgot to include Sarah and Laura's information on there, but feel free to reach out to any of us if you have additional desires for data, more than we could have given on a brief presentation. We're happy to chat with you about that. I know that you have other items on your agenda for today, but we're also happy to take any questions, or if you need clarity on anything, we're happy to do that.
I was just wondering about that, the heart disease, the mortality rate that was 454%. How was that generated? And what are the things that maybe contribute to that? Like access to healthcare?
In a way, that's kind of a nebulous number unless you compare it to other entities around you. And we did a state map, and I can actually, I think we took that out of some more current slides, Lindsay. We ended up with a percentage or something.
Mm.
And
I think after the first 1 or 2 workshops, we redid how we shared the data. So
yeah, so let me get in and get you some cleaner data, because like I said, it means nothing. That is actually a mortality rate is based upon 100,000 people and how many people died within that frame. And so let's not focus on that. I'll give you some better data regarding cholesterol and hypertension that are more meaningful to you. I just thought of that when you asked that question. Thank you. Let me see what I can dig up.
If not, I'll go ahead and move forward, but if you do have questions, there'll also be time at the end, so you'll be able to ask those as well. Let me share the screen. So after hearing the ladies talk about, the statistics, one thing that we believe is going to be critical for the success of our coalition is asset mapping. And let me share the right screen here. Just one moment. Do you guys see where it says asset mapping? Okay, great. So a high-level overview of asset mapping, it's the process that's used to identify and inventory the strengths, resources, and capacities within a community that can be leveraged to promote health and well-being. So instead of just solely focusing on the problems or deficits, asset mapping takes more of a strength-based approach and recognizes that communities possess valuable assets that can be mobilized to help address public health issues. So part of this process involves systematically identifying and cataloging various community assets, which can include tangible resources such as parks, schools, hospitals, community centers, businesses, natural landmarks, as well as intangible assets such as social networks, cultural traditions, knowledge, skills, and leadership. So asset mapping has several purposes. So it helps us learn our strengths. So with learning the strengths are within our community, they can be utilized to address health needs. And finding the gaps. So where are we falling short? If we have 10 programs that focus on this, but we have one program that doesn't focus on an area that we identify, well, let's identify that gap and how can we best address that. And along with learning our strengths and identifying our gaps, we can facilitate collaboration. So by partnering and among the various sectors, we can work together to address like the public health challenges. Empowering communities. So asset mapping empowers communities by highlighting their strengths and resources, fostering a sense of ownership, and addressing their own health issues. And promoting equity. So by recognizing and valuing the diverse assets within a community, asset mapping promotes equity and public health efforts. So overall, asset mapping is a valuable tool to understand and leverage the assets within a community to promote health, prevent disease, and improve overall well-being. Our coalition structure. We'll talk about our meeting frequency. We plan to meet the fourth Thursday of every month at 1 p.m. The meetings will be via Zoom. As part of our meeting, we're going to incorporate education from experts by, getting us that learning and seeing maybe the resources in a new light, whether it be learning some different information and understanding maybe some of the statistics that was shared. That could be part of that. And a huge part of that is celebrating our successes. While Indiana and our own county, isn't the best, but we do have some wins. And I think celebrating those along the way will definitely help empower our community members and pull us together as we work toward a healthier Kosciuszko County. And then next we'll have Jessica share about some upcoming events.
Yeah. Thank you, Sandy. So I wanted to share that we are having a Cancer Coalition meeting. It's going to be actually a luncheon on April 30th. So next month from 11:30 to 1. It's going to be here in our building at the Health Services Pavilion upstairs in the conference room. Free lunch. And we're going to have speakers, Mary Robertson. If you came to the one a couple years ago, she had spoken. She's from the IU Simon Cancer Institute, and then DeMarcus Sneed is from the Indiana Cancer Consortium. So Mary's gonna share a little bit about the data, the statistics of cancer in Indiana and Kosciuszko County, as well as the importance of early detection and prevention in cancer treatment. And then DeMarcus will touch on the new Indiana Cancer Control Plan from, well, the 2023 to 2027. So that is free. Can register. I'll actually attach the link to the chat, but I will have Sandy send this out with the follow up email. So if you're interested in learning more about cancer or joining the coalition, it's be a great opportunity. And if you have any questions, you can ask here or my email's there at the bottom.
Thank you, Jessica. So we're going to talk about some next steps. One of the major next steps that we are looking to do with the asset mapping is we did reach out to Alia with CADI, which is the Cardiovascular and Diabetes Coalition of Indiana, and work on getting training or development opportunity, not only for the Chronic Disease and Obesity Coalition, but learn asset mapping for the Cancer Coalition. We believe that will help us on many aspects of the coalition, how we can move it forward. Because again, what resources are out there? Do people recognize that there's programs throughout the county? Do they know how to access, these programs? Do they understand truly what that means if they are impacted, whether it be cancer, diabetes, hypertension, things of that nature? And another thing that we would like to ask is if there's others in the community that should be involved with the coalition, please invite them or contact me, and I would be happy to connect with those individuals. The more that we're united and collaborating, the better we'll be able to move our numbers to help mainly educate, prevent, and support those individuals. Because I would probably say that everyone in this call knows someone that either is impacted with a chronic disease, obesity, or cancer. And so what we can do to help move things forward, the better we'll be. And then important notes. So our next meeting will be April 25th. The meeting agenda will be emailed prior. And then the meeting minutes from this meeting will be emailed within the week, as will future meeting minutes will be shared within the time frame. And then I'd like to open the floor to any questions that anyone may have about anything that was shared during this call today.
Hi, this is Laura Heinrich, and I would like to clarify some data points. We did share some statewide maps on diabetes prevalence, high blood pressure prevalence, and high cholesterol prevalence to several of the other regions. You were one of the first regions, so like Lindsay and I said, that we changed how we did and presented the information. And I did send those to Sandy so she could share those with everybody. On the maps, you'll see that the prevalence range by county went anywhere from 6.7 to 15.1. Kosciuszko was kind of mid-range at 9.9. With the high blood pressure prevalence, again, it was a percentage prevalence around the state by county. Kosciuszko right there. I gotta make sure I get the right county here. Was at 30.2%. And the range of prevalence went anywhere from 26.8 to 36. So again, you're right in the middle of the blood pressure prevalence range that we saw across the state. And then the high cholesterol prevalence, again, we did by percentage also. And we did share a map. Kosciuszko was 28.7. So you were on the low end of the prevalence range because it went from 28.7 where you were to 33.9% prevalence. So you were on the low end of your cholesterol prevalence. And again, we can provide more data by year if you want to look at kind of the range of where you were, where were you for 19, 20, 21, et cetera. We can do that also. We did that for another county, and because they had a spike in their percentage of diabetes prevalence, but then it's starting to come down again. So sometimes it's nice to see that yearly range that we're seeing. And again, this is all bigger FSS data that we're seeing and we're utilizing for these percentages. Oh, there you go. Thank you. You put them up. So, and again, she has copies of those, so she can share those with the entire group if need be. Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome. And like Laura indicated, she did send the maps with the data prevalence. And so those will be going out after the meeting. So that way you guys do have that information. Because I know I feel like sometimes as an introverted thinker, you need to be able to look at it. And that's when you have the questions from that. And so we definitely, welcome any of those questions that you may have after this meeting, because we do want to make sure that we are empowering the coalition to be asking those questions. With that.
Hi, this is Tracy Akers, and I'm the nurse coordinator at Warsaw Community Schools. I just wanted to kind of address one of the gaps that I see being a school nurse. My 19th year, I would definitely have to say that with chronic diseases, our highest one would be asthma in our district, for sure. And I also feel that obesity is something that we're not addressing on a good level. We don't have any required screenings when it comes to height and weight or BMI. I feel like they're starting to look at some of the more academic pathways and physical activity in the classroom or part of the school day is definitely becoming minimal. And I am concerned as a school nurse that especially with the link between obesity and asthma, that this is definitely a gap in the school system, at least in ours.
Yeah, I don't think you are alone in that. I actually would be curious if you'd be open to a conversation with me so we could chat a little more. I'll put my email into the chat here because I'd love to talk with you further and brainstorm some things that maybe we can help support and encourage your district to take on. And then also, I'd love to learn from you and your experience as well. So I have a kiddo with asthma and trying to deal with the school district. It gets frustrating. And, you can't point fingers either way. It's just, frustrating situation for everyone. But yeah, I'd love to have further conversations with you. So I'm going to put my email in the chat.
Yeah, and just to add on to what Sarah said, I think we do a lot of work in the school health realm in our division as well. So we have some resources that we could share with you that could even you know, I don't know how much like pull you have with like district decisions, but there are some studies out there that show like the increased brain activity when there's physical activity, to kind of show like how important physical activity is to academic success. And so stripping physical activity away to add more academics is not really the way that you're gonna like move the needle with that. It just kind of detracts from it. And it's just not best for kids either. I mean, their bodies are meant to move frequently. So I could either be in that same conversation with Sarah, and I have a program coordinator who sits under me who specifically works with schools. Her name is Jenna, and we could also let you know what we know that's out there that could maybe help, to help you fill that gap a little bit.
Again, next steps, you know, like I mentioned, Alia is going to be helping us get directed with Purdue Extension on the training for asset mapping, and we'll make sure that we share, include. I'm sure we'll be asking all of you to help, you know, in some fashion or format with the asset mapping with that. So as Tracy, you know, alluded to, asthma and obesity being a problem with the school district that she's working within. So please be looking forward for that in the future. Information coming out. If there's no other further questions, I just again would like to thank everyone for taking time out of your day to attend this meeting, just because I do think it is something that it does need our attention. Those numbers are pretty alarming when you look at what those statistics are showing for all ages. So it's great to see such high attendance. And again, if there's someone else that you feel that would be a good addition to this coalition, please feel free to invite them. Or if you want to connect that individual with myself, I would be happy to reach out and connect. My contact information is located on this last slide. So anytime that you have questions, ideas, anything like that, please reach out. So we're ending a little bit early to give you some more time back in your day. But again, thank you everyone for attending, and minutes and copies of this presentation will be sent out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, bye-bye.